Happy Wednesday, beautiful souls, wherever you are on this phenomenal planet. All right. Happy Wednesday. I was over here toggling. Let me bring my mic closer. I was toggling with my screens because I am going to be talking about this weird, we're like in this Wizard of Oz of real estate, or this fanatical world is what I'm calling it. It's just been so fanatic. Um, I first want to just kind of chime in and get caught up because, you know, Elon bought Twitter, and I've been watching, his comments about Apple no longer advertising, this whole thing about freedom of speech. And it's like, what is going on out here? And then more to come with crypto. The crypto market is going through it. What is it? The FTX platform has gone bankrupt, and it's like resulting in this chain, this collapse. And then BlockFi has filed bankruptcy. And then I'm like, well, the financial markets seem like it's going through some things right now. Greetings, Bomo. Greetings. He says from Chicago. Thank you for tuning in and for your continued love and support. You didn't send me a message. I'm still good for, your very own. I'm still good for it. Send me a message and we'll get you the this is a 15-ounce mug, the Ready Set Real Estate 15-ounce mug, for your continued support and engagement. Today we're going to have a discussion because I've been thinking about different things as we're wrapping up fourth quarter. But I do like to reflect back and talk about what has the market been doing. And one of my colleagues, shout out to Mr. Charles C, sent this to me, and it was timely because I was just having a discussion with one of my colleagues and investors about the real estate market. And so I said, this is very timely. But before I jump into that, of course, let's talk about your goals. Let's talk about those real estate goals for 2022. Have you accomplished them? If you're new to the show, you would have started with me at the top of the year, 2022. We've been talking about goals, and have you executed? So for me, one of my goals was reciprocating our brokerage license, which we've successfully done. What is to come with that is still a plan in motion, and I'm very forgiving and loving of myself because behind and off screen, there is a lot on my plate. But I've narrowed it down. I must say, I've narrowed it down to. I said two things yesterday. I was talking with my realtor colleague and friend Leslie Allen, and I said, "Well, I've narrowed two things down. I'm down to two things. My focus for December, fourth quarter, is school, my studies, and working out." Bam! Right? So I've been doing that, but then I just walked into the office and two more boxes of marketing materials just came in. So there was one box there yesterday, two more just got, and she's like, "Hey, can you get these?" Yes. I shared this with you last week. As the market is doing interesting things and you're in business, if you are an entrepreneur, optimize expense optimization. This is still related to your 2022 goals because in a short, we're gonna you know what, let's just do it now. Let's just do it now. Let's just start planting the seeds for 23. Okay, let's just go here. Boom. Your 2023 goals, because we don't need to wait until 2023 happens. The plan you set in motion, the seeds you set in motion are for your harvest to come. Your harvest to come. And as we are talking about expense optimization, I'm hearing there's just so much headlines I'm hearing about the markets. I'm hearing about there's an increase in influenza-like symptoms of those who are COVID vaccinated. There's war still happening, the World Cup. like there's so much going on. And it's like, woo, really back in. So let's focus. Let's focus. So 2023 is around the corner because, yeah, we're at November 30th. December 1st is tomorrow. We are then going to be counting up until into to a new fiscal year. What does that mean for you? What does that mean for you? I'm excited. I'm excited because this platform that I use just announced something really cool and new that I am looking forward to testing, and it's webinar modes. I have shared with you all that I will be bringing back the workshops and trainings. So, woohoo! I think what we'll do is probably kick off the year. I'm going to do something fun, and we'll do the how to create your own podcast training and workshop. Bring that back for entrepreneurs. My specialty, if you will, I train real estate professionals. So, but if you're an entrepreneur, you can get some of this too, because it's essentially we're entrepreneurs. We just so happen to be in the real estate field, and you're also welcome as well. Very important. It's especially because of what I'm sharing with Twitter. Like, Dad, come on, listen. Let me just go here real quick. Let me just bring an Elon headline real quick, so that I have it. Let's just go here. Boom. If I do this, and I'm going to do a screen share, have a discussion today. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Top stories, right? So I put Elon Twitter. Can I put your name in Google and will it come up? That's the question, which is why we're going to be discussing how to create your own platform, how to create your own podcast, because I can do the same and put Lisa, Gillett or Lisa Puerto, and I'll pop up. And I've shared this with you all before. It's a hack to Google, to being present, to your presence, to your brand, being present. This was on purpose, right? Buying Twitter, that is having like your own news outlet, you're in control of the message. He who owns the platform, right, gets to control the message. And for those of you who have a message, those who you are just as talented, more experienced as I am, have something to offer, have something to bring to the table, I implore and encourage you to use these platforms to share a message. I've been intentional on what we've been doing with our platform, right? So I don't necessarily I'm not necessarily selling stuff all the time. I do, the merch, of course. That's fun, cool swag, because it's part of a bigger plan for us. But for the most part, it's rare that I've got something to offer. It's really here just me in my purpose, like my love of education, my love of information, and sharing with people so they know, right, that Ready Set Real Estate is flips, flops, boom, and busts, uncut, raw real estate, not the HGTV and how it's so glitzy, pretty, and glamorous. And in fact, my transactions include this last one, indemnity agreements, double indemnity agreements, escrow holdbacks, judgments, liens, interpleader actions. What else? Right? You get it. So I get to speak from it from that standpoint. And I enjoy it. I enjoy it. So let's talk about this real quick. So Elon over here, look at these headlines. That's what I'm saying. Twitter has grown under Elon Musk, mainly in the US. Data shows Elon Musk is delaying Twitter's paid verification to avoid Apple's 30% cut. That's why I said Twitter wars is going on. Elon Musk keeps firing Twitter workers by mistake, affecting HR system, Twitter and COVID misinformation policy under Musk. Look, he gets in here and he gets to shake things up in terms of what the message is for the rest of the world. And this is why I ask you in relation to what 2023 is, what is your mental diet? What are you putting in? What are you putting out? controlling the message, the data, right? Now let's jump to crypto real quick. I know you guys were, oh, crypto news. Woof. Here we go. Going down, y'all. Top stories. Coinbase wallet to see support for XRP, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum Classic. It's getting wild out here. Coinbase wallet and support for ETC, BCH, XRP, XLM, right? But on the flip side, look at this. Brazil approves bill regulating use of Bitcoin as payment. We see more regulation. Isn't that what crypto was about? Like deregulation? And the more regulation you see is where you see things shaking up, right? Let me get to crypto. So BlockFi. Here we go. BlockFi files for bankruptcy as FTX fallout spreads. Like this thing is like catching on as wildfire. For those of you who invested in crypto, like what's your position now? Like anything else in real estate, I've been watching some of those documentaries, and it's really interesting as you think about an investment that is Wi-Fi or Wi-Fi driven, like somewhere in the cloud. That means it's susceptible to being hacked, susceptible to disappearing. And now we're hearing those stories like that Canadian founder of that crypto platform, and he just up and disappeared. Some people say he faked his death. It's, yeah, there's like a crypto crisis is what I'm reading here, says the Wall Street Journal. So it's an interesting place, and I feel for those who I know traded Bitcoin, who have been gung ho about it, and it's like anything else, right? It's a risk, it's a major risk, lots of exposure, and I quite didn't understand too much of crypto, and so I stayed my lane. And I was watching, who is it? It's I was watching the marathon guy. Nipsey Hussle. There was a short where he said, stay your lane, there's less traffic. And that's what real estate has been for me. Like there's tons of things and opportunities out there. Yes, diversify. Yes, diversify what you're willing to lose. Gamble what you're willing to lose. Risk what you're willing to lose. And for me, I'm a lane hugger. So before I jump into that, let's boom. Let's get back to let's get back to just kind of the real world, okay? Disclaimer of the show, because I'm going to talk about the market's third quarter and consecutive the last 2 years. And what's interesting, we don't have the typical inverse relationship with the market. And with that being said, I want to disclaim the information on this show is meant to be informational, a little edutainment, educational, entertaining at the same time. If you have a specific situation, please consult those reputable, licensed legal and or tax professionals regarding your situation, especially as we're starting to see kind of the market doing interesting things. Foreclosures are still on the rise. In fact, we're relaunching our foreclosure campaign. I prematurely did it. We did foreclosures. Moratorium ended September of 2021. We did our campaign October 2021 on, moratorium expiring, selling is an option, liquidation is an option. And so people still felt like there was this safe haven. There's still a sense of security. However, in that particular show and episode, and I will remind you all, those who have government-sponsored loans will be those that are protected. Those who don't have government-sponsored loans, those are your FHA, your VA, your USDA, Freddie and Fannie Mae, have some protections in there as it relates to housing challenges or payment challenges, mortgage defaults. There is an added layer of protection in there. So that's great. But those of you who don't hold that loan, which would be from my estimation, 76% of mortgages. That's a lot of mortgages. 76% of mortgages nationwide, by the way, although I'm a California broker. nationwide, 76% of those mortgages do not have those protections in place. So we are noticing that banks are moving aggressively on foreclosures because they had put a pause for 2 years. They're coming to collect. Why? Because these properties have equity. More on equity when we come right back from our sponsor break. Be right back, guys.
Do you have properties that need to be maintained? For professional services that guarantee your property will stay safe and secure, Omnis Property is the team you want by your side. As a company, we pride ourselves on our best-in-class professionals, equipped with the latest technology for all your end-to-end property preservation needs. That means that from start to finish, our expert team can handle everything from accurate assessments to preservation projects of all sizes. Save money and time by working with leading experts that understand your needs and are committed to premier service. Get started today by contacting us for your project estimate. Visit www.omnispreservation.com or call 310-957-9132.
Thank you for our sponsor, Omnis Property Solutions. Also have their real estate goals and growing. So they're adding and extending home inspection services. Woohoo! Congratulations, by the way, for growing your business and adding to that. So that's awesome. Okay, in the meantime, give me a moment here while I need to send a quick message. Okay. Pens and pens. So what I'm sharing is for my market, but if you are in a market outside of California, this is specifically from Pacific Coast Highway to downtown Los Angeles for single family homes. Market statistics provided courtesy of the MLS.com. A lot of you would not know the MLS, but the MLS actually provides the data you receive online through third parties like Zillow, Realtor, Redfin, Trulia, homes.com, all those other third-party websites. They're receiving data from the MLS, which is our system, that we are listing the sales data or information for various markets across the country. So the MLS is not just specific to California, but there's very MLS, the multiple listing service across the country. And it basically is a hub for that information. Oh, perfect. Can you do this real quick and send what we talked about? Thank you. Okay, so now that I have that, cool. Let me zoom in real quick here. So we're looking at 2021, 2020, 2021, and 2022. Let me know if this is helpful, because as we're talking about goals 2023, and we're talking about the real estate market, for those of you who are wondering, thank you. If you're wondering, should you buy? Should you be buying? Should you be selling? In fact, I got an email this morning from a past client who said, hey, I'm considering of selling the condo. We're going to get to condo statistics shortly. He says, boy, when I have my email open, it's just like all my business. He says, I'm considering selling the condo. We'll talk about condo statistics shortly, the condo data. And let's just go to the numbers. My husband and I were having this conversation this morning in terms of what the investor and I were having this morning. Shout out to Tim C, who definitely is like, Lisa, you're like my crystal ball. What's the market going to do? And it's always wonderful when you can have someone to bounce these conversations off of. So these discussions that I have with you are discussions I'm having offline with my intimate circles, those who are actively flipping, selling, buying, marketing, buying and holding. What's the exit strategy? We deal with the tough things like having to negotiate cash for keys, having hard time with getting in to do an appraisal so that you can do the cash out refi. That's what I mean about flip-flops and uncut raw real estate, is because it's not always pristine and perfect as you see on TV. And when you need someone to be able to make some moves, when things get tough, you definitely want someone who's active and experienced to do that. That's my whole soapbox, right? I'm on my soapbox right now. Okay, let's look at this. I did share this is PCH to DTLA, downtown LA. Let's look at this. Look at this, people. All right, let's look at this. I like this is a really cool, pretty chart here. But here's what's unusual, because what Tim and I was discussing, what my husband and I were discussing, is what's interesting is although interest rates are, let's for fun, what are today's, what are mortgage rates today? Let's do this real quick. I'm going to throw this slide real quick over it. What are mortgage rates today? 30-year. This is a loan amount of $300 down, putting 20% down. I haven't seen a client get a loan amount for $300,000 in some years. So let's do loan amount of $500,000, 20% down. Some folks are more like in the 10%. So let's look at those range. FICOs look pretty good. I'll keep it there. Let's do 6.6. There we go. That's brutal. Look at that. Look at that when I play around with mortgage, 10%, California, FICO scores. This is why people, they say work on your credit, right? Because of the interest rates. Look at that significant increase. If I go back to my 700, 719, we're at 7.349. This is average. 15 years is 6.2, and the 10-6 arm is 7%. Whoa, sheesh. Wow. You would think that would dissuade people from purchasing, but that's not what the data shows. That's not what's happening. That's why I brought it up shortly, is because now I want to get back to the data. So here we have from 2020, we look at the median price, 1.43, 2021, 1.6, 2022, 1.7. Wow. Now we look at sales volume. 2020, sales volume says 4.5 billion. That's not million. 1, 2, 3, that's million, billion. This is why I say real estate is a $1 trillion industry. Trillion with a T. Because look at the sales volume. Billions of dollars in 2020. In 2021, we had a phenomenal real estate market. Kudos to you if you made money. Kudos to you if you cashed out. It was a prime time. It was an optimum time to do so. And then look at 2022. We're talking about third quarter too, by the way. This date is third quarter. Then you see that 34.14% decrease from 2021 to 2022. The sales volume in billions of dollars dropped to 3.5 or 3.6 billion. Incredible. Look at the number of listings sold. So from 2020, we went from 1822, 2021, things on 1843, slight increase. And then we saw this drop in 2022, third quarter. Now, this is showing you that there is less property being sold on the market than single family. Less property being sold, third quarter, 1247. But look at the median price, right? And look at the sales volume. Let's continue. I'm going to go back to another chart here. Look at the condos and co-ops. Wow, look at this. The median price from 2021 to 2022 on condos increased. So John, you were saying you were thinking about selling that condo. Now's the time. Now's the time, because condos are selling and the price in the third quarter is increased. Although between 2021 and 2022 in the third quarter, there's only 820, right, sold listings as opposed or compared to 1,200, just over 1,200 condos sold during that time period. So what's interesting is that we don't have that common inverse relationship between interest rates and pricing. We have the opposite happening where they're both going up. Rates are still high, and prices are still high. Now, here's an interesting theory as we're having this conversation, that those who pick up property between now and the next 24 months will make a profit. And here's why. Ooh, here is why. Okay, I'm going to jump in the chat real quick because I want you to pay attention to something that's really important. It starts with the C word, and that's concessions. Pay attention to concessions. Pay attention to concessions. Let me close out my Outlook. I think that worked. Okay, cool. Got to remember to close out my Outlook. Pay attention to concessions. By the way, shout out to those of you who are streaming on the radio podcast. Thanks for tuning in on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Anchor, Stitcher. Oh man, we're on so many different podcast platforms. Pay attention to concessions. You say, what are concessions? Thanks for asking and tuning in from the ERGJ Enterprises platform and channel. Do remember we are a Facebook Watch channel, by the way, as well. So thank you. What are concessions, you ask? Those are things like where a seller is willing to kick in closing costs, credits, where the seller is willing to also agree to repairs if they agree to repairs and they say, you know what, I'm willing to do some repairs, but then I'm willing to offer repair credits. I am willing to XYZ, right? There's concessions there. In fact, I noticed there were more listings that hit the market that had in the description that seller was willing to pay closing costs. Because here you have this thing called reserves when you are purchasing. So it's one thing to have saved up for your down payment, but saving up for your closing costs is almost the equivalent to your down payment. What is in your closing costs is the taxes, the insurance, the 3 months to 6 months reserves required by the lender that you also bring to the table. It's basically showing that you have sufficient funds in reserve to carry the housing expense. Sufficient reserves. Most often I very rarely hear people talk about reserves. Reserves vary depending on what lender you're with, depending on what you're buying. Income property, 6 to 10 months of reserves depending on your lender, different from single family. Also remember that interest rates vary between condos and single family as well. So here I can see why there is that uptick also between single families and condos happening. This is why. So we are in such a fanatical world and unusual real estate market. But with that being said, this is why I have to bring you back to your goals. Selling and buying has to be based on your situation, your goals, not what's going on in the market per se, but are you moving? Are you downsizing? Are you getting a divorce? Are you getting married? Are you having more children? Job relocation, job loss. These life events trigger real estate need. That was my motto and my tagline for many, many years. Life events trigger real estate need. Are these life events triggering you to have to make a real estate decision? Regardless of what the market is doing, right? Okay. With that, I say short, sweet, and simple today. If you found this information valuable, make sure you share, like, and subscribe at LA Super Agent on all your favorite channels, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, definitely on Instagram. When I unload all my pictures off my phone, you'll start to see me post more. My phone is like to the max, to the max. And I definitely want to say thank you all for your continued love and support. We'll see you next week on another information-packed episode on Ready, Set, Real Estate. All right, you guys, take care. Bye.